LPL special, you know, that cannonball comp. You're one Galio away from Camille and Jarvan and Galio of being the highlight, and that just got locked in.
I didn't think we'd see one of those ever again, but there it is. That's a Senna support now for Mickey. PerkZ busting out the Kalista, and the big question is going to be, does he bind with the Crocodile and sacrifice some of that early laning power to really double up on team fight? It's going to be interesting to track. Of course, feels like we would, or up until the Kalista pick, it felt like we'd be looking only at the top side for G2. Ekko and Renekton would love to have the support from Graves, but now it's very much a different story. Eyes on the junglers inevitably in this matchup, but the top laners as well.
Fighting a lot for lane priority here from G2. They are not going to let Suning just have these free lane phases with the Kalista coming out right now. And like you said, we're curious where he's going to bind with. Does he not bind with the Senna and instead bind with Wunder the Crocodile for these big team fights? PerkZ, of course, is a phenomenal Kalista player if you guys haven't seen it yet, if you're not fans of the LEC. So watch out for that one, as Huanfeng and SwordArt definitely have their work cut out for them. But on Bard and Ezreal should remain pretty safe in the lane, but will probably lose down priority unless something really goes sideways.
Have to keep our eyes, especially now, as well, on the early game level ones. What's it going to be? So many teams have doubled down, so many teams have gambled, and so many teams have lost on the back of a good, or rather a bad level one. So see what both teams want to pull together here as we get ready, as we load into game. This could be the final game for G2. We'll have to find out, but either way, Suning is going to have to play 2 back-to-back. Will it be a tiebreaker for second, fighting for their tournament lives, or a tiebreaker for first, knowing that no matter what happens, they can make it out of groups?
Look at the disrespect from Ben. That is teleport ignite.
Folks, I'm going to level with you. I talked to Whippo a lot about top lane matchups. I learned a lot about how Renekton Camille goes. But he never mentioned Ignite or Omnistone, and I'm going to guess he didn't mention it to you either, Frosco, so we're just going to have to see how this one unfolds.
Okay, so here's the thing. The level 1 can be powerful, obviously, from both teams. You have the likes of the Ezreal, the Bard, looking at those runes. You have the Kalista as well as the Senna, but there's more emphasis on Jankos as the farming jungler and the dueling jungler here. Whereas, obviously, for SofM on the Jarvan, the LPL special, if you will, it's much more about the ganks, and he has set up in every single lane. So G2 need to make it a responsibility to figure out on what side SofM is starting, so delayed invade from the Tri-Brush itself as Mickey starts the Oracle lens. And as soon as they get information of where SofM is starting, making sure that they keep him on the back foot so he's unable to impact the lanes through ganks. Here's the level 1.
Walking forward, contesting this one. Red buff should reset. How long do they want to spend here? This could be the big question. Smite is going to be important. And sadly, the red buff's patient, not resetting quite yet. It looks like G2 just trying to get that reset to buy more time. But Jankos is actually going to be the one who suffers as he takes a ton of damage. Mickey as well going to be forced to flash out to safety. And it looks like the bond is between Mickey and PerkZ early on here, so trying to maximize the Oathsworn damage in lane.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of a blunder there from G2, especially losing both summoner spells on Mickey as Jankos heads back towards his blue buff. Should look for a full clear here. SofM has a ward on his red buff, so knows that it wasn't taken from him. Can just do a full clear bot side. Now Krug to red. Maybe he does the Raptors, or maybe he walks to top side jungle and tries to get involved into this top side matchup, as Wunder is looking to try to get the wave shoved in and a bounce early off of Ben's tower.
Yeah, Wunder managing his rage pretty well. The level 2 now coming in, and Camille may fish for the all-in here. It's just going to back off instead. Tactical sweep and the precision protocol. No hook shot wall dive quite yet.
I mean, naturally, just thinking about it and theory crafting a bit, you don't have the safety of having the flash, but having access to the ignite makes your kill pressure go up exponentially. Now, the thing about Renekton is he's so powerful with his ultimate, and it's not just about trading, it's about the fact that it's almost like a built-in heal, and your Call of the Meek is such a powerful ability in itself that it really is just about that for Renekton, and then as soon as he gets level 6, he can just keep himself so healthy and so safe into a lane phase. But Ignite, which you don't normally expect to be up into the top side, may change that.
Definitely has the potential to. For now, though, we are seeing the Renekton come out on top. Sometimes in early trades, Camille can get an advantage as her passive feels a lot more useful when Renekton doesn't have a few levels in Cold the Meek and can't just stack up that rage very easily. But Wunder holding on to control for now. We're seeing Ben very quickly burn through his mana bar. This might be problematic if the lane phase continues forward. But for those checking in on how Omnistone has been doing, actually pretty solid so far. Has procced Comet, has procced Fleet Footwork. So overall, Camille as a champion who likes a lot of different runes and is now potentially not quite going to be able to all-in Wunder there, is getting a lot of use out of it.
And again, the matchup will be a little bit difficult for Wunder until he gets 6th, and obviously after first back. So we would expect Ben to be a really big threat here, and Wunder needing to respect him. Is checking in on mid lane. The nerfs to Syndra made this matchup a little bit harder, and it is much easier for Ekko than it was in the past, especially once you get access to level 6. Obviously, your ability to just completely deny Syndra's ultimate is a big factor, but even before level 6, the increased mana cost for Syndra make it much harder for her to punish as effectively as she once did in a melee versus range matchup.
Yeah, an interesting pivot that we saw coming in the draft, Frosco, is just the difference in priorities on champions, right? Because Lee Sin is someone who can look to keep up with Graves, it feels like early on, look to pressure a lot more, but SofM being on the back foot is not something that we're used to seeing across the group stage. Even in games that Suning ultimately lose, SofM usually in a very commanding lead, so while the Jarvan certainly can have big impact across the map, it is not having big impact early in the jungle here, and SofM gonna have to run for the hills as Jankos just starts to bully him out of his own side.
And finally, the shoe is on the other foot for Jankos and G2 in particular, using the priority from both his laners, the teleport from Caps to come back fully stocked. Angel has no mana. He cannot help his jungler out here. Oh, this one's gonna hurt SofM. He really cares about PerkZ.
But now stepping forward, SwordArt's going to be in trouble here. Where's the follow-up going to go, though? TP now coming in. PerkZ actually going to be the one who gets turned on here. The TP now completing. Syndra on the way in. Angel now has a bit of mana. Big scatter of the week and the turn. That's going to be first blood. Caps just barely able to make it over the wall, but Huanfeng is not done yet. But the Dragon is going to knock him back. It's going to stop him in his tracks. Still, Suning chasing forward, trying to maximize, trying to double down on this advantage, but have to be careful. The Dragon's certainly helping out G2 at this point. Huanfeng has to run for the hills. He's going to get locked down, but will he get taken out? No. The flag dragged through, but Jankos is going to flash over the top. Caps waiting on the backside. It's a drawn-out brawl. Wunder on the backside. What else can he get done? Can they kite the Croc? Flash forward is going to be able to lock him down, but does not stun the right target. Wants to go through the wall, but the portal so tiny, doesn't make any sense to follow through on, and Caps now has to get out. Jankos has to get out. Where's he going to go? Waiting on the phase dive. Going to dash away to safety. Huanfeng coming through. Angel messes up the combo. He could have had it. He could have had it all. He had the Dark Sphere, he had the Scatter of the Weak, but he just doesn't nail it. I'm not sure if that was mana. I'm not sure if that was error on his part, but it does not work. He does not get the kill.
I'm going to be very honest, Drakos. That was a bit of a clown car. With all of the different teleports. Everyone and their mother expended teleport except for Ben. Ben just chilled. I think he got 2 waves. He's now getting a big crash into Wunder's tower. Wunder's going to have to take it back. Actually, Ben's going to be very respectful. I was going to say, you can try to deny Wunder a lot here, but his jungler's not on that side of the map. And all over SofM's Krugs. You will not take this man's Krugs. We will expend 20 teleports to deny that.
It started at Krugs. It kind of became about Infernal Dragon unintentionally halfway through. Neither team wanted to finish the job.
So the first teleport from Caps gave G2 the priority to make that play, and then it was really the second teleport from Angel, the full mana, full health Syndra rocking in, that completely flipped everything on its side. So G2 being a bit disrespectful to the fact that they had lost information on the enemy mid laner.
Yeah, but now on the top side of the map, Wunder isn't going to be super comfortable in this matchup. In terms of raw champion power, Renekton definitely still a bigger threat, but given the Sheen compared to, well, the Doran Shield, Sheen and the Longsword, itemization certainly not favoring him right now, as well as, of course, combat summoners, the Ignite available for Ben. His ultimate, though, of course, much, much stronger.
But Jankos is on this side of the map, and you can see after Krug Camp, maybe he tries to slide in and help Wunder here, walking over a brush, or excuse me, a ward in the tri-brush. So Ben has information now, standing very defensively against that wall, so he can use hookshot to get away.
Yeah. Jankos just shadowing there, nice for Wunder. Able to pull this one back. Of course, is in a position where he could try to set up a freeze. Ben going to try to stand and contest the wave to stop him from doing so. Adaptive defense is already proc, so if Wunder wants to extend the trade, now it's going to start to favor him a little bit more, but press the attack will make it a bit more difficult. Omnistone continuing to roll some pretty solid options.
And Ben's going to feel really confident to try to contest Wunder from starting a freeze right there, because he did have information that Jankos tried to gank top back. You even saw a blue ping come down on Jankos as he was pathing towards the bottom side of his jungle. So it's going to be about contesting this Infernal, which is why Huanfeng and SwordArt are now walking into bot side river, knowing that Jankos is on this side of the map, and knowing that Infernal might be the next big target that people are playing around.
And interestingly, after all that action, SofM is ahead in the jungle again somehow. I don't know how he finds a way to do it every single time, but he does. Wunder, though, going to continue to look to extend these trades. Ben, though, just trading back and forth. Hail of Blades now getting selected. Very scrappy matchup. Neither side really be able to make an impact on the other.
Bin does need to be more careful, however. There's not information that Jankos is on the Infernal, and his team does have vision to see that he's not in bottom side river. He knows that all the bot side camps have been taken, so he must assume that Jankos is on top side with red buff being back up, which means that this freeze can now actually try to punish. So we'll see if SofM tries to dig him out as blue is spawning on this side. He should hand it over to Angel, or if SofM will hand the blue, then path back towards Infernal, and try to use Bin as a soaking pressure point to trade Dragon for his Camille.
It's certainly a good question. Of course, we can expect the action to uptick at least a little bit. Is now Wunder going to be caught out. The hookshot wall dive, the leap in, but now Bard coming in across, and the Senna all just a little bit too late there from PerkZ and Mickey. Nice kill pickup. SwordArt now going to tick over to level 6 as well. A lot of things going in favor of Suning.
Just really talented. It's been a long time where you've seen
Hold that thought, big bad stun, and goodbye to Angel. All right, 1 for 1. Teams now trading blows.
Speaking of talented, Caps. I was about to give a compliment to Bin and the top laners for LPL, but I might not have a moment to do that as we are skirmishing very heavily over topside river control.
Fighting, it looks like, for that early Herald. Jankos has kicked that one off already. SofM burning the flag and drag just to clear out the mid wave, has completed the Cinder hole.
And because you have information of where SofM is behind the tower, it does give G2 so much, that's what I'm looking for.
Pressure, agency.
I was going to say the clear.
Buzzword.
Pressure, agency, tempo, no. Gives them the clear to start the Herald. So they pulled Mickey and Jankos. He should be able to pick this up pretty much for free here. As SwordArt's actually also babysitting Bin, who is very low health and mana without teleport.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult for Ben, obviously. When he's going forward, when he's getting aggressive, when he's finding fights on his terms, that Ignite's going to feel really good. But when someone's threatening the dive, it's not going to feel nearly as nice. As SwordArt throws down that portal, that's a big old bluff. Just threatening G2 that if someone was there, that they could get caught out. Huanfeng is now here to respond. A single plate, though, going over to G2.
This is actually really massive for G2, though, because now they have information that Huanfeng and SwordArt are on top side of the map, and Jankos, after he does these bottom clears, could actually try to just take the Infernal by himself. So we could be looking at a world where, in the current map state, G2 get Herald and Infernal.
Yeah, good setup to do so. And could try to follow up with using that Herald afterward, depending on where they can get the pressure. But SofM now moving down to the bottom side. Camille will be able to reset the wave, it looks like. Hard to tell from the minimap. But yes, she has done so. So there is room to contest this one. And it looks like Jankos is just going to back off in the meantime. He's got camps on the top side respawning that he does need to pick up. And SofM will lay down the vision. We'll check it out. Saw the play that you were talking about coming, Froskurinn, and did not want to let it go through.
SofM does have access to his ultimate now, level 7. I would imagine that they'll want to play around Ben, so Wunder has the target on his back, especially because now Suning have seen that there was a possibility that they lose Infernal. There is Herald still in Jankos' hands. Maybe he uses it either mid lane or top lane, depending on how the next skirmish will go. As here's the gank on Wunder that we talked about.
Oh, very risky. Can they turn this one, though? Wunder taking a lot of damage. TP now coming in, but they're just going to shred him down, dash out to safety. The flash away from the Cataclysm damage, that's going to be massive, but Caps now leaping into the midst of this entire fight will just snap back.
Top!
And he's able to hold the wave top lane. All things considered, that worked out pretty well for G2 Esports, but still, a bit of a questionable place for Wunder to be.
Yeah, but nice job on the flash that you talked about, dodging the Cataclysm damage, and the damage may have been done for Suning, however.
Herald now coming into the bottom side. Bin going to be in trouble here. SofM's already back. He's already walking top side, so this should be pretty easy for G2 to be able to take this tower with the power of the Herald, but they might fish for some kills as well.
Wow. Just really impressive individual outplays from G2 to allow them to pick up these monster objectives. Multiple plates on PerkZ here. Jankos is still sitting on the Herald. He can drop it here if he wants, or he can save it for mid lane. And control over Herald is, Dragon, as Suning trying to fight back.
Big damage coming in. PerkZ now needs to make his way out to safety. Jankos is going to get shut down on the backside, though. Absolutely just shredded through by that Syndra. And now G2 are caught between the entire team. They're trying to get at least one kill back, but G2 very much overcommitting, getting nothing in exchange. Now they've got mid and they've got top pushing, but in the meantime, Suning is just clapping the fight.
Caster cursed the hell out of G2 right there. So I was just complimenting that in the kind of the last two fights, the solo kill on mid, the outplay on the bot lane, especially with the TP. But then G2 just had to go and way overcommit there. They got greedy for the plates, and Suning, like you said, just clapped on them. They got the resets onto the map. They picked up multiple kills in the bot lane. There wasn't any TPs to come in to save G2, and they picked up the Infernal. So a very nice turn for Suning.
You can see Mickey constantly stepping forward, throwing out snares, but they don't connect. And Ben, very confident to leap in here, also gets the grasp in the meantime. And Second PerkZ is caught out here. Jankos just walks into no man's land. Syndra, very easy kill pickup. Gets the shutdown as well to top everything off. And G2, they're just two people. What are they supposed to do? They're two very squishy people.
Also want to give huge credit to SwordArt right there. I know that it was really Angel turning the fight when he joined, but SwordArt, nice little sidestep to make sure that PerkZ and Mickey weren't able to trade 1-for-1 there on the back half, as well as leading with the Bard ultimate. But coming back onto the map, there's the Herald that we wanted to see. They're forced to use it to break down this bottom lane, continue to snowball and keep this Kalista ahead of the clock.
And it looks like they're going to get another charge as well. Of course, Syndra may try to interrupt that one. But at this point in the game, Suning, they've got a Drake. The gold just about dead even, so all things considered, working out pretty fine after what were some unfortunate early game circumstances. They've now balanced things back. SofM again pulling ahead in jungle CS. Camille already to the Trinity Force. Renekton matching with the Blade of the Rune King, but SwordArt there for just a little bit of extra back.
And you can see that now, the difference in the turret plates. I do want to talk about, though, Camille. So a lot of this turret plate gold went into the hands of PerkZ in particular. You can see now, completed Blade of the Rune King, but this Camille has a Trinity Force complete. She's a big deal.
Absolutely is. Caps taking his time to snap back. The flag and drag not quite going to connect as the Z-Drive Resonance is more than enough movement speed to take Caps out to safety.
Been, as all of the LPL top laners have been carry-oriented players, 369, Zoom, and Ben kind of taking after the go-goings, if you will. It's a very different look for LPL tops, as Xiaohu and the likes have been recent representatives, more of those tank-oriented players. Maybe it's time for Suning to remind the world that LPL used to be known for their carry tops.
Certainly potential to do so this game. Has a bounty on his head, 2-0-2. The free boots have now come through as well. And the later this game goes, the more Ben is going to be a big threat. And he's already a big threat right now. A little bit awkward there, but it's not going to matter too much. Wunder is just going to get locked up and taken down. A wasted Camille ult, but Suning not going to feel too bad about that one as they now push in on the top side of the map. Yeah,
continuing to funnel gold also on the Camille. Now, maybe you get some damage back here for G2, although you need to respect that if you don't have information about where the rest of Suning are, that you can get flanked like this.
Pull back, now looking to engage already. SwordArt now coming in though, stun should connect. Mickey gonna go down, PerkZ probably just next on the menu. G2 very much overplaying their hand.
And rightfully punished. To quote Cadril, that's illegal. You didn't know that where Suning was. They could have absolutely flanked you, and they do just that.
Yeah, Ben now going in on Caps. He's running out of mana pretty rapidly, but I still think his trade favors him overall. Caps doesn't seem like he's going to be able to turn this one. One more stun, just gets the Z-Drive Resonance and is now running out to safety, but here comes SofM. Where's the flag and drag going to go? Waiting for the ultimate. They're covering every angle. Gets him with the chilling smite, hits him with the emote, and my God, Suning, they're on the path to win this game.
They are steamrolling over G2 right now, absolutely slapping the ball out of their hand after some very big ego plays from G2. Now, if you're a North American fan or a G2 fan, you need to pump the brakes a little bit. Stop overextending, overcommitting under these towers, these plates. I think PerkZ and Mickey in particular have been very suspect and very guilty of this as we take another look at this one. They wanted to punish, but didn't take account for the teleports, didn't take account for the potential flank, and then gave a lot of gold away.
Yeah, and the thing is that now Huanfeng has Iceborne Gauntlet. So this is not a man that you just get to burst out as a Kalista Senna, unless he's really just standing still for an extended period of time. This game will not be easy for G2. You know, when you look at their draft initially, it doesn't really feel like, you know, it feels like a solid, it feels overall. But now we look at it here, and you have to recognize that they don't have a lot of good ways to start fights on their terms. And when you're ahead, that doesn't really matter, because pretty much any fight is on your terms. But when you're behind, the Jarvan and the Bard get to start fights whenever they want, and you kind of just have to respond to that. And if you try to force, you might just get more action like we saw in the mid lane, where G2 do not have the tools necessary to actually come out on top.
There's also the issue that when G2 find themselves in this type of situation, usually they like to play hit and run League of Legends, really split up the map and play these side lanes. And while you can still do that on the Ekko, for how powerful and how far ahead has been on this Camille, it is much harder to do that than they would usually even be in a position for, because Wunder is killable at this point, although is itemizing toward the Bork, so does want to try to fight onto these side lanes, but needs to be much more careful about it.
Definitely does. Continuing to step forward here. Again, though, eyes on the Bard ult, eyes on the Jarvan. These are the big ways to kick fights off in as well, getting scarier and scarier. So Suning really just able to walk up and push in. They've got 4 members here around the mid lane where G2 are just playing catch up on the side waves. And now PerkZ has been caught out. He's been isolated. The exhaust now coming in. Mykix going to find the knockup, though. Can they take down Bin? They're running for the hills. Bin, has he overstayed? No flash, remember. With the hook shot, the wall dive. The flash over from Wunder, the instant's done. Now they want to turn it. Jankos stepping forward. Huanfeng going to be in trouble. Wunder immediately to the back line. This is where you want the Renekton. Collateral damage across the front. They're chasing them down. Angel going to get good damage down, but not nearly enough to finish a kill. Running now. Disengage for a brief moment. The extra movement speed isn't enough. The phase dive will connect. SwordArt now has to run as well. G2 find a fight. They find a shutdown. They'll find the Drake as well. And just like that, they get an opportunity to bring themselves back into the game.
Going blow for blow. Who's going to overextend this time? This time around, Suning go a little bit too deep. Now they do manage to get most of their members out. If maybe G2 had more of that hard engage that you were talking about earlier, Drakos, it could have been worse for wear for Suning, but it's just the Bard that goes down. Yes, that's still a shutdown, but it's on the support Mickey's hands in the Senna that picked it up, as well as a Mountain Dragon now.
Well, Bin as well. We can see here, feeling pretty confident. He's forcing out the early flash, but on the backside of the fight, some pretty solid play coming in from Mickey, and PerkZ does keep them alive.
Yeah, I'm going to say Bin feeling himself a bit here to go super deep on the Kalista, especially knowing that she does have ultimate. Still, it looks cool. Thinks that he's going to get out. Wunder just says, not today. Flashes over the wall, picks up that shutdown for himself.
Yeah. And of course, when you look at these compositions, it's pretty hard for Wunder to find a way into the back line against the likes of the Jarvan Bard, but when he does get the opportunity, you're going to have to hold that Drakos in the fight happening on screen, and, well, Suning are winning this one. Herald's going to be dropped down. Bottom lane tower now going to fall. Wunder is on the top side looking to trade 1-for-1 on towers, but Jankos has now been caught out. Not nearly enough damage, and Caps might simply be another name on the list. Suning continue to push forward.
This Camille is just an absolute terror right now. 4-1-3 for Ben. You'd think that he had flash with the gaps that he's able to close.
Yeah. Very, don't even access to flash hookshot. It's so powerful. Mickey has to be very careful here. Ben might look like he's at half health, but he can still one-tap the Senna if given the opportunity to do so. Bit of an anti-synergy there, but they're still going to be able to find the kill as SwordArt takes out PerkZ in the midst of that one. Suning now barreling down the mid lane. They remember what happened last time they let G2 get to late game, and they're not going to do it this time around. 20 minutes in, 12 kills to 4, and now a 4K gold lead for Suning.
But also a much easier to execute composition with very clear win conditions and how they're going to use their side lanes, but also their key ultimates to start fight. So I think this is a completely different animal than the first time that we saw Suning versus G2. As NA fans and G2 fans, it's looking pretty dire at this point. We talked about how usually at this point G2 would try to split up the map and play their side lanes. There's obviously a timer on the Kalista, but with Wunder being so far behind, it's still relatively dangerous. So it's really that same hit and run ambush style League of Legends from G2 at this point. Maybe you find some more shutdowns, maybe you find some uneven fights. Whereas Suning, if they group together and play around shadowing Ben, maybe in a 1-4, they should feel really confident to close this game.
They absolutely should. And of course, reminder, Suning currently at 3-2. They'll get knocked down to 3-3 if G2 find a win here, forcing the tiebreaker with Team Liquid. But if Suning win, both Suning and G2 will sit at 4-2. 1-1 in their head-to-head. And that means we will get the tiebreaker, the final match in what has become a best of 3 to decide who will get first seed out of this group. So if you are an NA fan, cheering for G2 right now. With G2, it's going to be a long road to find a way to come back in this game. It is certainly not an easy task, and Suning right now are this match's favorites, looking to take us through one more game to try to find that first seed.
You can see that G2 were really hunting around to see if they could get an unfair fight when Ben was off into a side lane, but Suning expertly sniffed that one out and just really putting the damage in with a lot of this poke from Huanfeng. It's two waves crashing.
Jumping forward, laying down a little bit of damage, can't quite proc the passive, and meanwhile a tower is going to fall, and that looks like Jankos just deleted. He's so squishy at this point in the game. PerkZ simply next. They're going to take him out too. They're ignoring Caps. They're just chopping down squishy members one at a time. Caps wants to do everything that he can to bring this one back, but he can't even kill SofM. Mickey going to get dropped as well. Precision protocols left and right, and it'll be a tactical sweep for Suning because they are just cleaning house. G2 could not do it when it mattered most. They wanted to secure first seed. They'll get another shot to do so, but they'll deny the chance for Team Liquid to play their way out of this group.
And the FPX logos, the Invictus Gaming logos flash flashing. Suning are saying we may be the 3rd seed, but we are here to represent the LPL. It is World Championships back-to-back for us, and you cannot count us out. They will get the tiebreaker for G2 to see who gets first in this group.
For G2, a few minutes to go back to the drawing board to figure out what they need to do next for Suning. Disaster averted, no longer just fighting for a chance at 2nd seed, instead fighting for 1st. Guaranteed out of groups either way. G2 and Suning will make it to the bracket stage, but we will play a tiebreaker to decide who will get that coveted 1st seed.
And unfortunately, this does mean a sad day for our North America brothers across the pond.
Yeah, brutal. If you're Team Liquid, condolences, of course. They might not be on screen right now, but they have just now been eliminated from Worlds 2020 after the results of this game. If you're an LEC fan, take a moment, recognize that what G2 need to do now is come back together, again, go back to the drawing board and find a strategy to bring them forward in the next game. We've talked a lot about momentum today. We've talked a lot about keeping a cool head in the face of high-pressure circumstances. Well, G2 were above that for most of the earlier moments in the day, as they were sitting quite comfortably. But that is no longer the case, because 1st seed, as we all know, feels like a pretty reliable path to semifinals if you're a team like G2. Of course, there are some teams you don't want to draw, but 2nd seed, this tournament is looking like a death sentence. Dan1 Gaming, Top eSports, these are not teams that you want to face in the quarterfinals.
But potentially also a JDG or DRX would still await you for a possible 2nd seed. We'll see when all the dominoes fall, but Suning, that was a very different animal for G2. It looked like they just got a little bit shell-shocked there as things got so quickly out of control for them.
Yeah, and in Suning's Mercedes drive to victory, it is going to be the bot lane turnaround, and drive is the key word here. This was easy for Suning. After this play, everything just came together, and we're seeing the power now of Bin's Camille.
And again, leading up to this moment, you know, G2 had just had the outplay in the mid lane. They managed to survive the bot lane onslaught with a Wunder flashing away from the Camille damage, but then just way overreach. And it wasn't even a cookie jar. It was overreaching into a bear trap as Suning just took the whole arm off of them.
Yeah, and just a note from the personal opinion side of things, Senna support is booty. That is not a good champion. She just gets clapped by Bard. I understand she's a good laner, but Bard ult is just so good. And Mickey is such a big playmaker. So while we step away, maybe G2 reevaluate their draft priorities. Maybe you reevaluate who you're rooting for if you're an NA fan after G2 let you down like that. But we come back. It is the tiebreaker for 1st. It is Suning versus G2 one more time.